My coverage of Computex 2024 is brought to you by Antec, Asus, Corsair, and G.Skill. To learn more about all their new products, check out the links in the description below. All right, guys, I'm here at the Gigabyte Suite at Computex 2024. They have a ton of stuff they're showing off. Let's see what they got. All right, we've got a lot of new motherboards from Gigabyte. Look at this. We've got an Aorus, Next Gen Z Aorus Master. I think this is the first Aorus Master motherboard that comes in an ATX form factor. They've all been eATX up until now, but according to Gigabyte, they're going to cram all the same features. They're not skimping on anything. They're just making it a bit more compatible with the vast majority of cases out there, mid towers, full towers. Tons of I/O on the back. Holy moly, that is a lot of USB ports. Goodness gracious. Okay. And they've also got an Easy Connect Wi-Fi connection right there. Here's the plug, and it just basically plugs in like that. Toollessly, no screwing. The fact that I was able to do that with one hand, a testament to the ease of use. I like it. That's a smart idea. Also, something that they've been adding to all their boards now, all these next-gen Intel boards, is an internal HDMI header. There's an HDMI port. Why would you need one of these? I think it's safe to say that there's been an explosion of people putting screens inside of their PCs. Apparently having external displays isn't enough. That's for old people like me. All you youngins, all you cool kids, starting to put little LCDs inside of your rigs. Yeah, but it's nice. It's very convenient that you can actually have that internal connection now, so you don't have to do a little bit of a pass-through action, you know, plug it into the back and run it through. It's sloppy. It's chaos. It's much more seamless of a solution to have the HDMI built in. This is the Elite Wi-Fi, by the way, the Z-Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7. Over here, we've got some whiteboards, a nice variety of whiteboards. This is the Aorus Elite X Ice. Z-Aorus Elite X Ice. The Ice series of boards are going to be mostly blacked out. I don't know if this is the final version. This might be a prototype or an engineering sample, but Ice is supposed to be super white. Aero is pretty much the whitest that we get so far, up until this point with Gigabyte, although they have a lot more silver accents on the Aero boards, so if that's your aesthetic preference to have a bit of a two-tone action, then Aero is for you. But on the Ice boards, we're talking about a lot more white, and that includes the PCB. You can see actually both of these boards have white PCBs, and traditionally when we see a lot of white boards, they typically have a lot of white accents, but then the PCB itself might be black, or it might be an off-white color, or the headers themselves, the actual housing for the headers will be black or an off-white color, whereas this is completely whited out. You have a clean aesthetic. This board is actually pretty sweet. This is one of their overclocking boards. This is a Taycon, the Taycon Ice. Z-Aorus Taycon Ice, which is an overclocking board. You can see we've got the two DIMM slots here that are horizontally mounted. We've got two M.2 slots as well, with a nice white plate cover. I believe it's a heatsink also. That's a quick release for the GPU, just a single click in order to take it out very easily. Subtle I/O, obviously you don't need a whole lot of it on an overclocking board like this. Overall, it's a very beautiful package that is the very first all-white Taycon overclocking board that Gigabyte's released. This is an absolutely beautiful Z790 board. This is the Aorus Extreme X Ice. Like I said, the Ice branding, the Ice series is all about clean, white aesthetic. And this is a very special edition motherboard that has only 300 units. 300 units will be available. They are actually serialized right there. And this is real gold. This is actual gold that you're seeing. It's a very fancy board. This is just an aesthetic plate here, strictly for appearance, and a very nice, kind of like a classy, sort of textured finish, like a crystallized finish right there over where the M.2 drives would be. And this is, I believe this is a signature from, I think it's from the Intel CEO. Intel CEO himself signed that. I just touched it, so I'm part of history. And you've also got some really fancy debug LED situation going on here with physical buttons. Clear CMOS, power, and reset. Very nice. And of course they have a similar graphics card to match. Also with that serialized number 217 right here we've got. Also in that real gold with this like crystal flake finish. I don't know what it's called, but it's very appealing, very alluring. I think this would be a perfect set of hardware to use with the Trident Z Royal sticks. I feel like these would be a match made in heaven with those. This is, I think, a RTX 4080 Super. That's exactly what this is. Oh, I'm blind. What am I doing? It's right here. But here we go, the Aorus GeForce RTX 4080 Super Titanium. And just a quick look at the backside here. You can just see how incredibly massive this card is. This looks like a 4-slot card. This is easily, I'm gonna call it 4-slot. It's probably like more like 3.8, 3.9, but for the record, we'll just round up. And by the way, while this is signed by the Intel CEO, this GPU is signed by Jensen Huang himself, CEO of NVIDIA. There it is. Everybody copy that signature so you can start forging big checks. All right. B650E Aorus Stealth Ice. So we already talked about Ice briefly, but now we're talking about Stealth, which is their back connect boards from Gigabyte. We've seen them from Asus, we've seen them from MSI. Gigabyte is hot on it, baby. Look at that, cable free. Look, I really love this design actually. They've completely covered up the soldering, so it's just a really clean aesthetic. There's the connects on the back. They're saying that this is the world's first white reversed connector motherboard. So not only is it back connect, but it is white as well. And I gotta hand it to them. I don't think I've seen a back connect board so far at Computex quite this whited out. It is a sight to behold. It's going to be supporting those new Ryzen 9000 CPUs. Absolutely beautiful. Really quick, I'm going to show you guys the new X870E motherboard that they're showing off here. This is the Aorus Extreme. X870E Aorus Extreme. Just a really quick look here. More details to come, of course, once the platform releases for the latest Ryzen 9000 series CPUs. Very excited to see what these boards are capable of, but there you go. Let's take a look at some of these beautiful displays. This is their Aorus line. They actually told me that they are planning to go to full OLED. They're going to go OLED all the way for all of their Aorus gaming panels, which is a very bold move. I'm for it though. I remember like first gen OLEDs were all about the burn-in, right? Everyone was terrified of them. But with second gen and third gen, that's no longer a problem. We've got all these technologies to prevent burn-in. And so we have this beautiful display now that has gorgeous color, amazingly fast response time, and those inky blacks that I love so much. This monitor is the Aorus CO49DQ. It's got 144 Hz refresh rate. It is a massive 49-inch dual quad HD 32:9 OLED display, specifically QD OLED. So these displays are from Samsung. The panel is Samsung, which is why it's QD OLED. We saw this with MSI as well when we were at their booth earlier. So this is effectively like having two 16:9 27-inch quad HD displays side by side. This might be a little too wide for some of you. If that's the case, you can shrink it down a little bit. They've got something for everyone. This is their MO34WQC2. This one has a much higher refresh rate of 240 Hertz, which is probably why they have a game like Counter-Strike 2 on display. 0.03 millisecond response time, something that you can really only achieve right now with OLEDs. That's another big benefit. DCI-P3, 99%. Was it 99%? 99% DCI-P3. So not only are these monitors going to be fantastic to game on, but they're excellent for color reproduction as well. So if you want to do color correcting, video editing, photo editing, OLED really does it all, baby. These are all the same, I believe. These are all the same display. This is their Aorus F032U2P. 240 Hertz refresh rate, 32-inch display. This is also going to have the world's first DisplayPort 2.1. So the P actually stands for Pro. In the US, this is going to say Pro instead of P. But they are going to have a non-P option that omits that DisplayPort 2.1 port. However, if you want to pay the extra premium, I think it's like an extra $200 or something like that, then you can opt for the Pro model, which has that newest connection. And that's obviously going to help you future-proof with the next generation of GPUs from NVIDIA and the likes of AMD. Daisy chainable. These monitors are also able to daisy chain together. This is carrying Signal, so you go from one to the other, which is absolutely fantastic. It's going to clean up cable management a ton and just make the whole setup process a lot more seamless. Switching gears to something a little different here. This is Gigabyte's AI Top Utility. It's a software that they've custom built in-house, and it's actually bundled with a lot of their AI hardware. So you can eventually buy a system that's like this, that has all of the GPUs, motherboard, CPU, everything else you need to train your AI models. Now, I know very little about AI models and even less about how to train them, but apparently this software is supposed to help you through it, even if you're a beginner. It's designed to be relatively user-friendly. They were telling me that normally when you're training an AI model, you'll have like hundreds of lines, hundreds of parameters to choose from, but this UI that they've developed is a very simplified version of that, so you don't have this overwhelming amount of information to think about. And they even have helpful hints, just like, you know, some higher quality BIOSes do. So it'll actually tell you, it'll give you some prompts as to what exactly all of this mumbo jumbo means. This could be a pretty good all-in-one solution. I think that's what they're going for here, is a one-stop shop for all of your hardware and software needs when it comes to AI model training. All right, guys, that is going to do it for my coverage here at the Gigabyte Suite for Computex 2024. Thank you guys so much for continuing to watch my coverage, but stay tuned for more content coming very soon from this event. I will see you y'all in the next video.